game PaperCuts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Scott, and welcome to episode 9 of PaperCuts, a Death Note recap podcast. As I said, my name is Scott. Joining me as always.
Hi, I'm Ollie. How's it going? Another week, another episode.
Apologies that we didn't get an episode out last week. Schedule just didn't line up. Didn't you have to go like way out of town last week?
Oh yeah, man, it's awesome. You walk in the office expecting to do your regular thing, and next thing you know, you're going to be doing 10 hours of driving in a day or more.
Jesus. Now, why the heck did they send you 10 hours away?
Well, I work in, I would say, heavy industries. So from the city, I had to go all the way to the mines in Interior PC to
Wow.
bring equipment, which is heavy. And fun fact, I have never seen nuts and bolts like this big, like,
What?
like that big. And then I asked them, like, so how much is like that bolt over there? Oh, this one is like, maybe like 2.5 grand. Oh,
This bolt, one
yeah.
bolt. Sorry, for our audio listeners only. Ollie was just holding up his hands about a foot apart,
Yeah.
and I don't know, would you say 4 inches across?
I would say the circumference is bigger than a Pringles, man.
The size. Okay, bolts the size of Pringles
Yeah.
tubes.
And I was
Wow.
delivering the wrench, the hydraulic wrench you need to tighten those bolts. So I'm like,
Wow.
okay.
Okay. It's a
Yeah.
long drive to deliver a wrench. I hope it was worth it.
It was, and for our Canadian listeners, just want to say stay safe for all those forest fires going on here.
Yeah.
Some smog. Just keep your windows closed, keep your air flowing, get your fans, and yeah, stay healthy, stay safe, everyone.
Absolutely. Uh, I don't have much of a segue to get into it.
Mhm.
But how were your Death Note episodes? We're coming close to the end.
Man, oh, oh, it's like you just want to get inside the screen that you're watching and slap the guy, but it's such a cliffhanger. I'm just like, I want to slap you. I want to slap you so bad, but like,
But
I
you're
want, I want this guy to do it.
right. We are so ready to see how this shakes down. And
Oh,
by the end of this episode, you are also going to be so ready to see how this shakes down. It is going to be the cliffhanger of all cliffhangers. And
yep,
if you heard the end of last week's episode, we sort of told you that we're saving the last episode of Death Note for its own episode of PaperCuts. We could have finished it up this week, but we decided to hold off and
mhm,
save the last episode for our next episode
yeah,
and sort of go over our overall feelings of the series in that final episode. And then hopefully, after that, we'll have another pretty cool surprise for you that
yep,
will get announced at the end of the next episode. So,
yeah.
if you're listening to this many years from now or after we've already released it, then congratulations, you know exactly where we're going with this. But if you're following us along, then, well, you'll just
Yes,
have to hold out just a little bit longer.
hang for the
On
ride.
today on today's episode, we're going to be covering episodes 33, 34, 35, and 36 of the classic Death Note. So, without further ado, I'm going to say the thing that every podcaster says ever, the most cliched line that you've ever heard in any sort of podcast. Let's get into
Yep, let's
it.
go.
So, episode 33 rather, Scorn. So Nier, at this point, is off to Japan to confront Light/L for being who he thinks is Kira. And it's kind of really adorable how Nier, this super genius, uh, needs an escort to book flights and travel arrangements. I think we forget that Nier is a child.
Well, hey
Like
man,
Nier's
like, no judgment here, but
no,
like, the only thing is like I know you're a kid, but like you're one of the world's greatest detectives.
yeah.
Like,
How have you never made travel arrangements before? Well,
well,
he's never had to do them for himself. That's the thing. Anyway, it's really cute, and how he brought his model of the Tokyo Tower to play with on the plane. And
Right.
that's something about Nier that we just haven't brought up yet, is that he's always fidgeting and playing with toys of some kind. Like Mello's always eating chocolate, and L is always snacking on sugar.
Yeah.
That's sort of Nier's thing, is that he's always playing with something. So the task force is planned for Misa to make a major comeback into the spotlight as an idol, under the guise that it would allow Mogi to access various Kira affiliated TV stations to further their own investigations. I guess since they moved in together, Misa hasn't been working as much.
No.
And so they're looking to get her going once again. It's revealed to all that Takuda and Kiyomi Takuda, who is the new spokesperson for Kira, who's also Light's previous girlfriend from back in college, and her entire network, the NHN, are both under investigation by the task force. Nier lets them know that he's now in Japan and revealed that he's figured out that Light has contacted Kiyomi Takuda, and he asks that he deliver a message to her. So, Nier knows that Light is in contact with Kiyomi, but Nier might not know that the task force is also investigating them.
How did he know that Light contacted Kiyomi?
I'm going to be honest, I don't remember.
Well, I think it's just under the premise that he was he has this suspicion that Kira is under the Japanese investigation team.
Right. So we can
Maybe that.
assume. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't remember that part specifically. I know some companion show. We're already. You have to understand, things are getting very, very complicated with this show.
Very
And
complicated, very fast.
in some ways, like obviously we're having a great time. This is great. But in some ways, I'm kind of excited to cover a show and recap a show with more fight scenes.
Don't get me started, buddy. You know what I'm going to say.
I know how you're going to be about it, but I'm kind of excited, and I'm kind of excited to cover a show that's a little bit less cerebral.
Mind effy. This like 4D
Yeah.
chess, man.
Exactly.
This 4D chess, dude.
Don't get us wrong. We're having a great time.
Yeah.
This has been a blast. And I think that Deathnote definitely holds up as a series. Again, we're going to get into our overall thoughts on the series in the next episode. But yeah, it's getting wild. So pardon us if we drop the ball once in a while. We're still figuring out how this is all going to work. So, Nier wants Light to reveal to Kiyomi that the SBK are in Japan in hopes that it will cause Kira to reveal himself by mistake. And it's in this moment that Light finally realizes that he's been fighting L this whole time, even after death, in a really cool scene. So, Nier uses Lego figures to illustrate his theory about Kira. So Nier has figured out that L/Light is the original Kira, called L Kira. However, someone else is using the Deathnote that he is calling X Kira. He believes that they cannot communicate, that L Kira and X Kira cannot communicate. But they're using Kiyomi Takuda, as their go-between. Now, the SPK could easily kill them both and end the conflict. Like, easily. But Nier rejects that idea because it's not what L would have wanted.
That is true.
Now, if that's not some bull...
It is.
Like, we talked a long time ago about contrivances and consequences.
Yeah.
I think that was episode 2.
Yeah.
How convenient is it that Nier doesn't just want to go with the simple solution.
I mean, he could. Don't get me wrong, he could. But then again, we're talking about a person here who thinks like leaps and bounds beyond an ordinary person, right?
Which we're going to discuss why we think that is as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So,
He's one of those.
mhm. Light and Kiyomi are having a chat and passing notes. And it was real smart of Light to only insist on audio bugs and not video cameras as well. Light wants Takumi, Kiyomi, Takuda
Mm.
to start making judgments and writing names in the notebook instead of Teru Mikami. She nearly jumps out of her seat with shock, to which Light catches her and says it's okay, and naturally she accepts. And Teru accepts, as God's will is absolute. Now, there's a new show that showcases Kira's plans, hosted by Takuda. And in the show, they reveal her 4 new bodyguards, one of which is Hal Linder, the blonde lady from the SPK, and someone that Mello has been in contact with in the past. Now, why am I bringing up Mello? Well, you're going to find out later. Nier figures out that ex-Kira must be somebody close to Takuda. And Ollie, I got to ask you, before we continue, are you familiar with Dune?
Yes. I
Okay.
read the novels. I haven't seen the movies.
Okay,
Or movie.
great. So you know what a mentat is.
Yep. That's the
human computers.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are like really good at logic and figuring things out really quickly. So somehow Nier goes full mentat. His eyes glaze over and he goes into his inner brain to make the connection that ex-Kira must be Teru Mikami. Having had no idea who this person was, literally like picked this person out of a bucket and said, you're the one. And the scene in which this happens reminds me very heavily of the concept of mentat space. When a mentat's eyes glaze over
and they're like,
and they run through all these calculations very, very quickly. So now I have the question. This leads to the question. Are Dune and Deathnote in the same universe?
I hope not. I don't want to see worms running around Tokyo. That will mess things up really bad. No worms here, bud. Keep the spice there. Keep the spice in that world. We don't want spice here.
We don't need spice.
We don't need spice.
We don't need the spice melange.
You can have it. No worms.
Yeah.
No spice. No mas.
Okay. So that's just something to think about. I mean, they do say that Dune is in the far-flung future of our world. So is Nier just the first mentat?
Let's say Deathnote world, our world. Our future is Dune. Dude, we're screwed. We're pretty screwed, man.
I guess so, in one way or another.
Remember how big those worms are? You don't
want
but
they're only on Arrakis, though. They're not anywhere else. They can't exist anywhere else.
Migrate? I don't know.
They don't. They can't. They need the sand. They need the spice.
I want to stay here where there's no spice. I'm okay here.
It's okay. We'll just have the Butler and Jihad to look forward to.
But yeah, Nier, possibly Mentat. Yeah, I agree. Could be.
So Misa and Mogi run into Takuda at a TV station, and we can see that there's clearly some bad blood between Misa and Kiyomi as she tries to attack Kiyomi, but is stopped by Linder with some Sigjitsu moves. But after that, Nier calls Aizawa to ask if they record video of Light and Takuda's meetings, and he confirms that they only record audio, which gets Nier's mind ticking. Very suspicious. Nier then sends a guy named Steven Giovanni to follow Mikami, the guy that he just picked up out of random and said, "This guy's ex Kira." I figured out through my mentat powers. Linder calls Mogi to ask if Misa would have dinner with Takuda, and they both agree to a private dinner after the 9 p.m. news. During this short meeting, it's revealed to Takuda that Misa has no idea who Light really is, as Misa lets it slip that she believes that Light will catch Kira and everyone connected to him will be executed. Excuse me. Takuda coughs into her napkin and decides to end the dinner, thinking that she's still the goddess of the new world. Now, what this shows us is that Misa really doesn't have any idea about what's going on.
No.
She has no recollection of the Death Note. She has no idea who Light really is and has no idea what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
So Giovanni and Mikami are on the train. Mikami does something with his phone to a man forcing himself on a woman and takes out a notebook and writes something in it, in full view of everybody on the train. Soon after that, he gets up and is stopped, and as him and Giovanni leave the train, the man collapses and dies. End of episode. So obviously, according to this Giovanni gentleman, Mikami has got to be ex-Kira because he just saw him kill somebody. But we know that that's no longer the case.
Yeah. Because post the conversation of Light and Kiyomi, that she would be doing the killing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ollie, tell us about the next episode.
All right. Episode 34, Vengeance. Usually the episode starts with a flashback. I love the dinner scene between...
Is it Vengeance or Vigilance?
Vigilance, sorry, Vigilance.
Okay.
Yeah, the scene...
Two very different things. Same idea.
Same, but different.
Yeah. One is Batman's thing. The other one lets my creatures attack without being tapped.
Ooh, magic reference.
It was a magic reference. I'm a multifaceted super nerd.
So many skills, such nerds.
Gross.
We are such nerds. We are nerds.
No skills. Let's be real.
Oh well, hey, it is what it is, man. But yeah, that episode with the dinner between Misa and Takeda, that is something I want to stay away from. If I see two chicks having an argument anywhere, I'm gonna keep my distance. I don't want none of that. Like, they were so catty, dude. Like, Misa is young, talking about her.
They're about the same age.
Misa's younger, I think.
Anyway.
Yeah. Misa's flexing that, ooh, me and Light are gonna get engaged. Gonna announce it in my show. And then Kiyomi, all in her head, she's like the goddess of the new world. So, words were thrown. Misa just chugged down a bottle of wine in the restaurant.
It's impressive. Like, that
Poor
was a
Mogi.
feat.
That's a feat, but like, what's more impressive than that? Mogi had to deal with that, man.
He deals with it like a champ.
Mogi deals with that thing, no problem.
Yeah.
So that was a flashback. So the main episode starts with Nier explaining that they need to get close to Mikami, to Teru, to get more info. Now, he was talking to one of his agents. I think his name was European sounding. Forgot. Anyways.
Yeah, Giovanni.
Yeah, Giovanni.
Yeah. The guy who's following Mikami.
Yeah, so he told him, like, hey man, you gotta get close to Mikami so we get more intel. Okay, I'll do it. But you have to be careful because them death gods are hovering around.
They're a thing.
They're a thing.
Yeah.
And then one of his commanders was like, hey Nier, it's all good and all to be careful, but you can't see it. So good luck, bud.
How am I supposed to avoid something I can't see?
Yeah. So now Nier addresses that thing. He now does tell Lindner, like, yo man, I told you to be careful and all about those Shinigamis, but I know you can't see them. we're gonna address that, buddy. You're gonna touch the notebook. Yeah. So now Giovanni was like, "Oh, touch the notebook, but like that kills, right? Right? Yeah, it does." And
Wait,
then
what?
Nier was thinking
Why does he think that touching the notebook will kill him?
because there was a rule that if you touch the note, one of the fake rules, right? So
Oh,
they got
was
this. The fake rule was how long it takes them. If you touch a notebook, how long would it potentially take before you die without using it? And then this goes back
oh right, the
to the
13-day
Yotsuba
thing.
experiment, right?
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
was
the
24
13-day rule.
days. The 13-day, but then again they extended to 23.
Right. Okay.
So poor Giovanni stalks Teru, got to the locker room, and he be lockpicking, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was so tense and all. Like, okay, lockpicking. Looks at the notebook, touches it, freaks out. Looks left and right, fear in his eye. No death note. Cool. So he confirmed it with Nier. Yo, Nier, I touched the DN. All right, sweet dog. You did me a solid. Now, while that was happening, Aizawa is starting to have suspicions. Like from the last. Remember the episode where Nier called them? And
Mm-hmm.
like, I believe, like, do you think one of your agents was thought to be Kira? And
Mm-hmm.
you can call me anytime you have suspicions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, this meetings between Light and his ex started to raise suspicion on Aizawa because Light is okay with having a wiretap on him, but no videos, right?
Right.
Because that's what Kira wants. And then he's wondering, why does Kira let them meet? So it raises a
Why
lot of
does
suspicions.
Yeah,
Why
okay,
does
sorry. Yeah.
Kira allow the meeting between Light and Kiyomi to keep on going?
Right.
Right? So why is this is weird. Why is this going on? So Aizawa was there thinking to in the hotel room while Light was like really checking the room if there's any bugs, right? So Aizawa was like, well, they're okay with audio but not video. Aizawa thought like they must be passing notes. So in those hotel rooms there's like notepads, right? And stuff like that where you can write
Mm-hmm.
on in a pen, bedside, whatever. Aizawa thought about like, he flipped the bottom of the notepad,
That's
punched
so
his
cool.
nail, like his thumb on it. So it leaves a dent, right?
Yeah.
Marked it. Marked the notepads. Now the meeting starts. Now Matsu, our boy Matsu here.
Oh, Matsu.
Matsu is like listening like a teenage boy, like, oh my god, this is gonna go down. My boy Light. Ooh, he's gonna get on with this girl. Now, the first thing that the guy's like, well, what is you and Misa's relationship? And then Matsu was squealing like, oh shit, Light is in trouble. Damn, he's in a pinch. Aizawa was like at the back listening to Matsu squealing like this. He was like, dude, drop it.
Yeah.
You're pissing me off, man.
Yeah.
Pissing me off. And then Matsu was like, what? Like, no, Light has Misa, and then there's Kiyomi, and then he's having chick problems. This is awesome, right? But now, while this is going on, this is what they're hearing because they're
Yeah.
on tap, right? But they were
Yeah.
like passing notes to each other.
Mm-hmm.
On the notes, they were talking about something completely different and a lot more darker than the
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
So, it was an authentic question that Kiyomi is asking, what's up with you and Misa? And Light was like, it's nothing. It just so happens that Misa found out about my power and I'm just using her, but you're the one for me. Ecstasy. And of course, the moist meter went up with Kiyomi. And this
I'm
confirmed
sorry. I'm sorry. The what?
the cake meter.
The
Moist. The M meter. It's called the M meter.
moist meter.
Yes. So they were passing notes. Like, you're the goddess of the world because I can use you more. I wouldn't be with the girl, obnoxious as her, and stuff like that.
Right.
Now, while this conversation is going on, Light decides to pass like a script, right? And then what the what Light asked Kiyomi to say was like, you have to make a comment saying like, if Light is not being honest, she will tell Kira on him. Light puts an act now, gave Takeda a script saying that Kira should be arrested. So now the
Mm.
boys hearing this bought this as, all right, we got another lead. She's on our side. But like in
Mm-hmm.
reality, it's actually just one of Light's play. They
Mm-hmm.
just like bought it, hook, line, and sinker.
Mm-hmm.
Now the scene cuts to Near, and Near with his voice at the SPK. This is Giovanni tailing Teru, saying
Right.
that, hey, I got visual on Teru, but I can't hear him, so we have to lip read. So they zoomed in the camera, lip reading, and then Buddy, Commander something, translated the lip reading. What Teru was saying was that Shinigami just gave him the book and hasn't appeared since.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after that scene, the meeting between Light and his ex is done. So Aizawa said to the boys, like, all right, boys, I'm gonna go to the hotel, check out, because that hotel is under Aizawa's name,
Mm-hmm.
for covers and stuff like that. So the boys were like, wow, you're working so hard, man. Like, this is cool and all. And then, all right. Aizawa got into the room, and guess what he checks first?
I think I could hazard a guess, but
Yeah,
go for it. Tell us, what did he check first?
he checked all the notepads.
And
All of his marks are gone on the notepads.
so they clearly used the notepads,
Nope, they were not used. They were replaced because the housekeeping team hasn't been into the room yet.
right?
So the notepads were replaced. By
Dun
who?
dun.
Probably them. So
Uh,
this just builds up more suspicion in Aizawa.
yeah.
He's always been suspicious. Now he's more suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
Now this causes him to call Nier and ask for a meeting.
Right.
Aizawa showed up blindfolded, confirmed no wires, no cameras whatsoever. Then he was talking to Nier about like the notes he left, and Nier cuts him off and tells him, "You don't need to say anything unnecessary. And you guys are no longer part of the task force. It's not any more vital for you guys to look for any more evidence against Kira. The only way to do this is to stop him completely. And for you, just carry on what you're doing, keep an eye on your boys." And
Mm-hmm.
that's it. This probably left Aizawa. Like, if you were Aizawa and you got proof and you were told this, what do you feel? I mean, like, you got something, right? You told you,
Well,
like,
you
dude,
that
you guys
you
are
have
off.
something,
Yeah, yeah.
but to be told that like
It's not important. We don't
you
need
don't
that
have
no
to
more.
worry about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've basically got it figured out. But at least
Mm-hmm.
Near like acknowledged the risk that Aizawa had taken.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "That was really risky of you. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't have to do that.
Yep.
Maybe don't do that again because at this point it's no longer necessary."
Yeah. So
So
now
I mean, like it seems like Near's just looking out.
he is. He is. I mean, I think he's at a point. Do you think he's at a point that, okay, I think I know what I need to do to get this guy? So you don't need to do anything anymore. Don't take unnecessary. Maybe that's what he meant. Don't take any more
Yeah, don't
unnecessary
take any
risk,
more unnecessary risks.
which is fair. I mean, like, yeah.
Right.
Now here's the funny part. The scene cuts into the NHL building as announcement of the New Year's main event, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Takeda is the host, and this is the event where Misa was supposed to announce her engagement with Light,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Now our boy Matsu is hyped as hell.
Yeah, of
Oh
course.
my god, this is gonna be the pop festival. I'm gonna watch this. And then I was like, hey man, if you did your cross-check reference and all this, I'll do it after the pop festival. These are cops we're talking about here, man.
Are we surprised?
Yeah. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
It's
no, just
dude, it's Matsu we're talking about here.
yep, yep.
He's happy. Now, the scene cuts into like Misa and Mogi getting into the pop festival, right? I
Mm-hmm.
would say they were jumped, not actually jumped by the SPK. So
Mm-hmm.
Blondie and the other guy was like, yo, we need you to
Yo, you're
come with
coming with
me.
us.
I'm impressed with Mogi in this.
Yeah.
Misa doesn't want to, but Mogi was like, he could have like drawn his gun and start capping people, right? But he
Mm-hmm.
was like, let's go. You know what? Let's go. He
Let's just
cooperated with them.
yep.
Yeah, because
They have no reason to hurt us. We cooperated with them.
do you think Mogi has doubts?
About
Light?
probably.
Because like Aizawa 100%.
Yeah.
He has doubts. But
Yeah.
Mogi, I feel like Mogi's just like, thinking. So that happened.
I don't think we know enough about Mogi's internal thoughts
No, we don't.
in order to make a judgment one way or another to where his allegiances sit.
Fair. The only people who know who doubts Light is Aizawa and his buddy, who he's
Ide.
drinking coffee with, right? Ide.
Yep. Yep.
Those two were like, something's up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they got jumped. Takeda cuts in, saying that Misa is a no-show.
Right.
So, that's gonna happen. Now, hearing this on broadcast, Light kind of had a little turd coming out his pants. What's going on here?
Where did Misa and Mogi go?
Yeah, where did they go? And the first thing he did, guess who he calls?
Teru.
Our buddy Near. Like
Oh, you're
speed dial.
right.
Like, yep. It calls here. Hey
Yeah.
man, what's going on? Oh, uh, I took custody of Mogi and Misa.
Yeah.
I was like, dog, kidnapping ain't cool. Near being a G, like, man, I didn't kidnap them. They cooperated with me.
Yeah. I just said, hey, we should go for a drive. And they said, yeah, let's go for a drive.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean, sure, I may have had a gun in their backs, but they still
but like,
said, we'll go for a drive.
yeah, they just go for a drive, and then Near was like, yeah, I'm gonna put them through. Video feed, Mogi and Misa on the couch, just chilling.
Yep.
And like I said, like, did you guys cooperate to this? And Mogi said, yeah, you might get killed. So
Yeah.
we just
Figured
cooperated with this.
let's not die.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So now the fans obviously are like pissed because like Misa was a no-show, right? And then
Right.
fandom, what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now after that, it skips to January 3 because we talked about like the Deathnote experiments, Yotsuba Boys experiment 23 days.
Mm-hmm.
RIP to the Yotsuba Boys. They thought they
Mm-hmm.
had it. They thought they had it down, but like no es bueno, señor.
Poor Yotsuba. They never had a
Poor Yotsuba
chance.
dudes, dude. They never had a chance at all. So here's the fun part. January 3 rolls around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Takeda and Light are still having meetings, passing notes while we're talking about the New Year's Eve debacle where like Misa didn't show up and stuff like that. Now Light passes Takeda a note to tell T that he gave her an order to let him know once to let her know that's once everything is confirmed and to let Light know if T receive it by sending him a text
Right.
or like they have to meet or whatever, just any sign at all.
Yep.
Now January 6th rolls in with Givani at the gym locker. And why is he there? Because Nier asks him, like, hey dog, you touched the death note already.
You
We're
may as
just
well keep touching it.
waiting for you, like, if you die or not in 24 days. So
That's right.
I don't know how would Giovanni feel, man. I feel bad for the guy. So at this point, like, yeah, I need you to go back in there, mess around with the note, take some pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. What
Yep.
is he gonna do with those pictures? We'll find out later. And that's where the episode ends.
Yeah. So basically, Giovanni's been taking pictures of the Death Note pages every single day and it
Mm-hmm.
sort of confirms that Mikami has been the one to be writing in the Death Note.
Mm-hmm.
Um, except there's something that they're missing a pretty major piece of the puzzle,
Yep, they are.
which we're going to get into here in
Yep.
just a little bit.
I really want to hear this episode. This is cool.
Okay, so episode 35, Malice. So January continues on with not a whole lot happening. Although Ryuk is seen with Light during a little short montage. And this has been his only appearance since we saw him with Takuda. No, not Takuda. Mikami. Since we saw him with Mikami when Mikami first got the Death Note.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only time we've seen him. Mello is still keeping tabs on Takuda and skips his chocolate bite. Now, we have a theory about why he does this, but we're going to get into it in just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say it has something to do with his resignations and or being controlled. So, Steven tells Nier that he's taking care of something, and Mikami is still writing names. Light receives a text from Takuda, confirming that he'd be clear to meet with Nier and have his Kira bases covered. Basically, everything is set up for Light and Nier to meet. Nier also makes sure that his ducks are in a row to plan a meeting with L. The meeting is planned at an old warehouse on January 23rd at 1 p.m., and everyone from both task forces will be present. Misa will be released beforehand so Mogi can attend unencumbered. So that's really a non-issue. Now, in order to attend this meeting, Nier insists that they bring the Death Note they have, as well as that Light not be the one to carry it. The time of the meeting is 1 p.m., which is of no surprise to Light because it shows that Nier has been following Mikami because he writes a full page in the Death Note every day at around midnight. And he's a very scheduled person.
Very
1
clockwork.
p.m. Exactly. So 1 p.m. would give Mikami, it's open in his schedule, or he'd be at work, one of the two. I can't remember exactly. So Light meets with Takuda for dinner and gives her one final order. Kill Nier as soon as she has a chance. The next day, Takuda is kidnapped after a smoke bomb is thrown into a red carpet event. And Linder tried to get her inside, but when Mello showed up, whom Linder knows, she says, "This person is safe, they'll get you to safety." So she hops on the back of Mello's motorcycle and they drive off.
I need to cut you off. I have a question. I have a burning question for this.
Please.
So Blondie is bodyguarding for Kiyomi, correct?
Correct.
Stuff goes down, smoke
So
bombs happen.
keep in mind, she is also still a member of the SPK.
She's still a member in SPK. Do you think it's just pure instinct that she let Kiyomi go with Mello?
Oh, I don't know. I think that she is familiar enough with Mello to know that if somebody was to get her out of the situation,
It's gonna be him.
it would be somebody also connected to the SPK. In this case, that person was Mello. But she obviously doesn't trust him completely because she still sends a bunch of cars after him.
Yeah.
Which, he gets away from with very little difficulty. And then we realize that it was kind of Mello's plan all along because he then handcuffs Kiyomi. The kidnapping is made public, and Light knows right away that it's probably Mello. He asks Nier if he can contact him, but it's revealed that that is not possible. Now, the driver of the car that threw the smoke bomb, which is different from Mello, is some guy
Hmm.
named Matt. Literally nobody. Cool design character. Like he's designed like a side character.
Hmm.
Uh, but instead of him being brought in for questioning, he's caught by the many bodyguards of Takuda, who are Kira fanatics, and is gunned down in the street because of his because it's now common knowledge that any crime against Kira will result in immediate and harsh punishment.
Damn.
Now, Takuda has been taken to a transport truck by Mello, and once he reveals himself to Kiyomi, she's instructed to strip naked and put all of her belongings in a box. She's given a blanket to give herself a little bit of privacy, um, but then that box is dropped off at a random airport and is just sent away. Now, let's think about this for a second. The logistics behind um, dropping something off at an airport with no um, information on it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Like, I
that.
don't think that's something that would ever
Fly?
happen. Ha,
Yeah.
fly, great. Ha, yeah. There's an airport. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, geez, that's so funny. Um, yeah, random packages just don't do well at airports.
No,
So
no.
obviously that's never going to come up again. Um, Now, fortunately for her, the Deathnote pages that were sent to her by Mikami were kept in her bra, so she was able to keep them hidden with the blanket. And she's able to write down Mello's real name. And before you get into asking all these questions, because obviously, how does she know Mello's real name? He dies while they're parked in a building. She breaks through the glass to retrieve her phone, and later, Light gets a call from her confirming that she is safe and traces the call to find her location. He instructs her to do what he told her to do earlier, and she starts writing down as many names as she can get from Mikami, along with photos from him as well. Mikami figures out that she's killed her attackers, her kidnappers, but can't move. Meanwhile, Light, Ide, and Aizawa are on the way to where the call was traced to. Fortunately, though, Light's in the backseat by himself. They were in such a hurry to go save this woman that they didn't think to be watching Light at all. He opens his watch in the same way he opened his watch before when he was in the chopper with L,
Yep.
and he writes Kiyomi Takuda on a piece of Deathnote in his watch, prompting her to end her life by lighting the truck and building on fire,
Yep.
thus destroying Mello's body as well as her own and any pieces of the Deathnote that she had with her. But like, why did she have to die? She could have just burned the Deathnote parts,
Man,
and Mello was already dead.
loose ends. That's all I can see, man.
So Light and Linder both arrive at the scene around the same time, just in time to witness the horror that has occurred. Ending of episode.
Loose ends. That's all I
Now,
see.
needless to say, we've got questions.
A lot.
Like, how did she know Mello's real name? Like, that's the
Well,
big one.
well, I we did a bit of research on this one. So one, remember the episode when Boss Man was dying, Light's dad?
Mm-hmm.
He did see Mello's real name,
Right.
right? So knowing that on his deathbed, that's why Light was adamant on telling his dad to write down Nier's real name because his dad knows
Sorry,
Nier's
Mello's real
face.
name.
Mello,
Mello's
sorry.
real name.
Mello's real name. He knows his Mello's real name and face.
Hmm.
Aside from him, nobody else knows his face.
Right.
So one of the really good answers that I've seen online is Light told Takeda and Teru Nier's real name, but they all
Mello's
don't
real
know
name.
his Mello's real name, but they all don't know his face.
Okay.
So that being said, I would say if anyone's gonna mess around with you, it's gonna be it's gonna be Mello. So
Hmm.
I guess that's where Kiyomi thought this is Mello. I see your face now because he asked her to undress, right? Write his name,
Hmm.
bing bam boom, he did.
Right. Okay.
Hmm. Because the
Cool.
face is all they needed.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Excellent. Ollie,
All right.
are you ready to
Episode.
jump into episode 36?
Oh yeah, this is a major cliffhanger.
Yeah. It's the penultimate episode of the series.
Yeah. All
If you're
right.
following along, your hype is currently through the roof. We're
Yep.
assuming. We hope.
I've never had so much hype in a scene that doesn't have any. It doesn't have a lot of actions.
Right?
It
It's
involves a
just
lot of
intrigue.
standing, just standing, walking, and waiting.
Well, right. I was going to make a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure reference about how when stands came along, the rest of JoJo's henceforth was literally just people standing, um, maybe nearby to anybody who's not a stand user.
Yep. It's a.
Like
Oh. Oh no.
if you
Every,
can't see the stands, you don't know what's happening.
but things are going down.
Well, you'd think.
Oh God. All right. Episode 36 titled 128, which
Hmm.
is the fated day that the SPK will meet with the Japanese police crew.
Hmm.
So the episode starts with a flashback about Nier making that phone call about the meeting place that he bought casually, like buying bread.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. Bought
Yeah,
bought the warehouse.
and it's called the Yellow Box. It's a cool name.
Yeah, but it's rust colored.
Yeah.
It's not yellow,
On my
like at
notes, it
all.
says here after Takeda's barbecue. It's more radio friendly.
Oh,
after
oh.
after Takeda's barbecue, now the public is now speculating who's the next Kira spokesperson will be. Now, obviously, all the TV stations are like applying and
That's
trying to.
weird.
Yeah,
It's
it's weird.
weird.
They're jumping on like Kira, come to our station, choose me
Yeah.
to be your spokesperson. Of course, everyone has their vested interest, increased viewership. I don't know, sponsorship like that.
Hmm.
Now it cuts to Light getting a call from Nier just to confirm the January 28th at 1300 is a go. It's a green light. All right. So the boys are
Hmm.
nervous as hell. Now, Nier asks his boys Giovanni, Rester, and Lidner if they can make it and wish them the best. It's pretty cryptic because it feels like, he's telling them like, can you guys make it? Good luck. It's like this will be it. Like
Yeah. This is where it
it's
all comes to a head.
this is an episode which really defines less is more.
Yeah.
Less lines, less action, but you feel the tension is like, okay, it's happening.
Hmm.
Now, the fated day arrives. Now, everyone's getting ready. Nier tells the boys that they have released Misa and
Hmm.
ask Light to give her a call just to confirm.
Yep.
And Misa's checked into a really fancy hotel and she's just loving life because she doesn't have
Yeah.
any idea what's going on. She's like, this is
No
dope.
clue.
This is awesome. Now, Light asks Nier if he can send Mogi to them because he needs Mogi's pin to
Right.
the safe because they all have
Right.
their pin, right? So it's a good idea. All right, everyone has their
Yeah.
own pin
Yeah. So
just to
nobody
get
has access to the Death Note individually.
exactly.
Yep.
Now they can. Nier connects them to Mogi, and Mogi gave them his combination,
Hmm.
and then Aizawa enters Mogi's combination, and then the Death Note was there. He gets hit
Hmm.
by a flashback of the Death Note's mechanics. So Aizawa is a really interesting character here, because I would say it's like, you know, L and Kira near Mellow, and then you got Misa. I would say Aizawa is up there.
He's definitely like
Yeah,
like tier. If we're making a tier list of like smart Death Note characters,
yeah, he's up
you've
there.
got them up there. I would say if Nier is S tier
Hmm.
and Mellow is maybe A,
Hmm.
Light is A, L is A.
Hmm.
I would say Aizawa is like B.
A B minus, something
Yeah,
like
like
that. A good B
he's up
minus,
there. He's smarter than the average cop,
right?
but
We're not saying like Matsu's dumb. Like Matsu's
no,
fun. Matsu's awesome.
Matsu's fun. That's a
Yeah,
great way to say it.
Matsu's fun. He's fun as hell. But like he's just not as sharp as. Okay, let me do that again. Ide, no, Mogi is a good B minus.
Yeah,
Aizawa is B.
yeah,
I think that's a better way to go.
yeah.
All
Anyway.
right. Yeah. So now they got the Death Note,
Hmm.
and then Nier suggested that is it okay if Aizawa is the one who carries the Death Note?
Right.
They agree.
Hmm.
Now, Light is just so confident that he got this one in the bag.
Oh
So
yeah.
so it's like we're watching this it's like we're watching these two fighters coming in the arena or the ring. Like the other guy's so confident, I got this one in the bag. So is the other guy, right?
Yep.
And you feel like these guys have no room for they don't have any room for failure in their head. They think like
No.
they both think they got each other,
Hmm.
right? The only way to find out is like once they like, actually
Once they get
throw
into it.
down. Yeah.
Yep.
So they got to the scene, right? The
Hmm.
boys walked in, and then Aiza was the one to check the door first.
Hmm.
And he confirmed that entire SPK crew is there.
Yep.
While they're walking, Light being a smug bastard that he is, he was he was thinking that this near guy is nothing compared to L.
Right.
Nowhere near. Nowhere near. And then when you got there, they noticed that Near was wearing a mask.
Hmm.
Fashioned
Smart.
after L.
That's right. I thought it was a mask that looked like himself.
No, it was a mask that looked like L.
Oh. Okay.
Even Light said that how dare you wear a mask of L? You're nowhere near his caliber.
Right.
So Matsu, he's not okay with that. I expected Aizawa to react, right? But Matsu was the
Hmm.
one. He was like, hey man, like everyone's here as unmasked. Why are you wearing a mask? Now, Nier's explanation was this was insurance, since his face is the only one that hasn't been seen by Kira. And people here might be already under the Death Note's powers.
Hmm.
So he suggests, you know what, let's wait for an hour. You know what, half an hour. Let's see if anyone's gonna die.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's see if Kira's already got somebody under his spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that happened, right? Half an hour, whatever. It passed. No, Light thinks to himself, huh, this guy's just buying time. He thinks that, he's probably waiting for a Cheru to show up. 30 minutes passed. It was the longest 30 minutes for the boys. Sweating bullets, like tensions were. This is the scene that less is more.
Yeah.
You would see Matsu's sweat rolling down to his chin, drops, and you hear it drop in a puddle. It's that quiet,
Yeah.
right? Everyone is like on high tension. Now, Light asked, after 30 minutes, Light asked Nier if he's waiting for something, and he said yes. Nier was like, yeah, I'm waiting for the one who will solve everything.
Hmm.
This building is sealed, and the only way through here to see us here is through that red door on my right. And that's where ex Kira or the Kira doing the killing will go through. And he'll probably kill everyone. And then this freaks out Matsu. Matsu was like, what the hell? Why are you not doing anything? Uh, Nier said, well, if he rolls in, just don't let him come in. It's cool. It's cool. And then suddenly the door creaks,
Oh
and you,
Oh, how did he
and
know?
then you
That's
see
some like
one.
Joseph Joestar level of your next line's gonna be
Yeah. And now the first thing you see through the crack of the door is an eye
a
searing red.
red Shinigami eye.
Guns were drawn, right? The boys were hot, like holy shitballs, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I don't want to die. Japan cops drew their gun, like, hey dog, I don't want to die. We should cap this bastard. SPK guys were like, yo, chill.
Yeah.
Put your guns down. We
It's okay.
cool.
It's okay. We're American.
We're cool. That's so. I'm sorry to our other American viewers, but like it's so nice to see an American that draws their gun and doesn't cap anyone. I was like, if someone no, hey man, the Japanese dudes draw their gun onto the SPK dudes. The SPK drew second, and no shots were fired. This is like, wow, this is awesome. It's possible. This is a great example. We should commend the
Of
SPK for
the
this.
It's
They
a
did
great example
they did
of the
well.
seldom seen and often dreamed about American temperance.
Not all. I love our American listeners, but like it's this is like in good fun. No shots fired. We all love you.
No
Anyways,
shots fired, period, whether in the show or on this podcast.
yeah, love increase the peace. Love is the peace. So so we all knew who peeked on that door, right?
Well, we do,
Yeah, it was Teru.
of course.
So he was peeking there, his eyes roving toward the room. He can see all the names and the lifespan of people. And then he backed up and started writing, saying, delete, delete. He was writing like a madman, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, damn, this guy is on a roll. And then he just blew his load and started roaring, like, ah.
Yep.
But I have to mention that when he saw light, the moment he saw light in that room, he said to himself, God.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Okay.
this is where everything unfolds.
Yeah.
The reason why the SPK was so cool about letting Teru go on his rampage writing down, because they said we tampered with a death note and we replaced the next pages with duds.
Right.
So whatever Teru writes there, it's not gonna happen. No one's gonna
Right.
die. Everything's cool. Everything's cool. Right? And while that's happening, tension is sky high. Nier said, Buddy's gonna take a peek again, eventually, just to confirm the kill. Just to
Mm-hmm.
see everyone's dead. Mm, Then Light snickers a little bit and thinks it's exactly as I planned and claims Nier is already defeated since the Death Note is the one is the one that they got is the one that Mikami made as a decoy.
Yep. The
And
Death Note that Taro has been writing in
yeah,
is a decoy.
yeah,
Has been a decoy.
no. What they tampered with was a decoy,
Yes.
and the one that Teru is writing on is the real Death Note. This is what's going through Light's head
Yeah.
now. The episode explains how this happened. Kira asked Teru to make a dud Death Note and
Right.
send Kiyomi the real one.
Mm-hmm.
So she does the killings, like we talked
Mm-hmm.
about in the previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
So Kira, being a paranoid, had Mikami check the dud Death Note every single day for any signs of tampering. And once Mikami find any sign of tampering, he is to call or let Takeda know that it's confirmed that it's already tampered, and then they would swap death notes. So Takeda would get the fake one, and Teru would now get the real one.
Mm-hmm. As if he knew that it was going to be tampered with.
Yeah. Now, the weird thing is, while standing there, Light calls out to the person behind the door, not to his name. He called him Kira. Did you write all the names? And the guy behind the door replied with a yes. Nier noticed this interaction and said, well, that guy answered to you really well when asked by you. And then Nier called the guy behind the door in his full name.
Mm-hmm.
And asked him to, like, hey, dog, come on in. You know, we know you've been killing for Kira. Now, Mikami opens the door, the Death Note in hand, and Light asks him how many seconds since you wrote on the names on the Death Notes. And Mikami started counting down. And as the countdown gets closer, Light says, Near, I've won. The episode ends.
Oh,
Yep.
God. Oh, why does it have to do that right at the end?
Yep.
Oh,
So
and if you...
we don't know who got who.
God, literally ends with Light counting down in his mind.
Yep.
And it's
You have
literally...
You have to see how he says it.
Literally 40 seconds.
Yep.
Light thinks to himself, Near, I've won.
No,
End of episode.
He actually says it.
Oh, does he?
He says it. Like, he says it straight out. Near, I've won. Because he was like, oh, these guys are dead.
Yeah.
I'll win.
Yeah. And so, oh man. So we, the way this has been set up, we have no idea who is actually correct in this. Yep. And obviously, if you are listening along, you can just jump ahead and find out. But, oh God, next episode. It took everything. Conclusion. It took everything we had to not click next episode after watching these episodes. It's so hard. Oh my God. Yep. Yeah. So we're obviously hype. We hope you're hype too.
Yep.
For what will be the final main conclusion to Deathnote and to this podcast, PaperCuts.
Yep. It's going to be fun.
Ollie, where can people find you on the internet?
I'm on the gram, extrarice_INC Incorporated. Hit me up if you have any questions, suggestions for what should we cover. Please do not suggest Evangelion, because I don't want to touch that. We're not ready for that. As you can see, our brain power is having a hard time with Deathnote, and Evangelion is I watched all of it, and I'm still confused. Very, very confused.
Yeah.
Please,
I mean, you might know what happens in Evangelion, but that doesn't mean you get it.
I don't. I'm just gonna say I don't. I don't. Give me my Trigun. Give me my slam dunk, or like, Ippo. Give me like, knockout. Baki's cool. You beat stuff up. You beat each other up. Done. Evangelion? Sorry. No.
Too brainy. If you are watching this video, if you're watching this as a video, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, let us know down below what you think of this episode of PaperCuts, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening to us on one of your favorite podcasting platforms, drop us a follow. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, feel free to leave us a review. My name is Scott. I can be found at Walkstars with 2 Z's on Instagram. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're already on my channel. So,
Sounds good.
Ollie, thank you again as always.
You're welcome. Pleasure to be
And
here.
I hope that you will join us next week for the conclusion of Deathnote, where we wrap up the series, announce our big surprise special episode, and talk about our overall thoughts on the series from start to finish.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So thanks again for listening.
All right,
and have
good
yourself
week.
a great one.
Peace.
PaperCuts. Technical productions by Scott Walker of Helga House Productions. For more shows like the one you just heard, visit helgahouse.com.